Do you ever feel like you've learned so much, yet can't seem to recall any of it when you need it most? You're not alone. Many of us treat our brains like a hard drive, a place to dump information, hoping it will be there when we search for it. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how human memory actually functions. Your brain isn't a passive storage unit. It's a dynamic, living network. Simply having an experience doesn't mean you've gained wisdom. Just reading a book doesn't mean you've absorbed its knowledge. Today, we're going to dismantle these common misconceptions and rebuild our understanding of memory from the ground up. We'll explore why your brain isn't a library of facts, but a web of connections, and how you can intentionally structure your knowledge to make it powerful and usable. Let's start by correcting a widespread error in thinking. We often say things like, "I can't remember," as if memory is a simple act of retrieval, like finding a file on a computer. If you can't find it, it must be lost or corrupted. But that's not it at all. The original models in psychology didn't describe memory as a storage box. They saw it as a process of encoding, storage, and retrieval, with each step being an active, not passive, process. The encoding part is crucial. How you first interact with information determines how it gets stored and, more importantly, how easily you can retrieve it later. If you just passively consume content, you're not encoding it effectively. You're just letting it wash over you. This is why you can binge watch an entire documentary series and forget most of it a week later. The information was present, but it wasn't processed. It wasn't structured. This brings us to a critical point. Experience does not automatically equal wisdom. You can live through something profound, but if you don't take the time to reflect on it, to connect it to what you already know, to draw conclusions and formulate lessons, that experience remains just a raw event. It doesn't become a part of your usable mental framework. Wisdom is the result of structured reflection. It is the process of taking the raw data of your life and building it into a coherent model of the world. Think of a carpenter. They don't just have a pile of wood. They have wood that's been measured, cut, and shaped, ready to be assembled into a table or a chair. Your memories need to be treated the same way. An unstructured memory is like a pile of lumber. A structured memory is a piece of fine furniture, functional and ready for use. So, how does the brain build these structures? The key lies in the laws of association. Our minds don't store memories in isolated folders. They store them in a vast, interconnected web. A new piece of information is remembered best when it's linked to existing knowledge. There are several types of association. Contiguity, for example, links things that happen together in time or space. You smell a certain perfume and instantly think of a person. Similarity links things that share common features. You see a new type of bird, and your brain immediately connects it to other birds you know. Contrast links opposites. Thinking of hot naturally brings cold to mind. The more links you can create for a single piece of information, the more pathways you have to retrieve it. A memory with only one connection is fragile. A memory with 10 connections is robust. This is where our modern digital habits create a dangerous trap. We become experts at externalizing our memory. Why remember a fact when you can Google it in seconds? Why memorize a route when your phone can guide you? We use apps to save articles, bookmarks to save websites, and cloud storage to save everything else. We feel productive, creating these vast digital archives, but we're not building knowledge. We're building a digital attic full of things we'll never look at again. This is the illusion of knowledge. We mistake access to information for genuine understanding. By outsourcing the work of remembering, we are weakening our ability to think. True thinking happens when you can hold multiple ideas in your mind at once, compare them, and synthesize new insights. You can't do that if all the ideas are stored on a server somewhere else. You are effectively outsourcing your own intelligence. The solution is not to abandon technology, but to use it as a tool for thinking, not as a replacement for it. It is time to stop being a passive consumer of information and become an active architect of your own knowledge. The goal is to build a usable memory, a mental framework that you can apply to solve problems, make decisions, and create new things. This requires deliberate, structured effort. When you learn something new, don't just highlight it or save it. Stop and ask yourself, what does this mean? How does this connect to what I already know? How can I explain this to someone else in my own words? This is the act of forging connections. This is how you transform a fleeting fact into a permanent part of your mental landscape. Let's get practical. How do you actually do this? One powerful technique is to create your own summaries. After reading a chapter or watching a video, close the source material and write down the key ideas from memory. Force your brain to reconstruct the information. This process of active recall is one of the most effective ways to strengthen neural pathways. Another method is to use analogies and metaphors. When you encounter an abstract concept, try to connect it to something concrete and familiar. For example, if you're learning about electricity, you might compare it to the flow of water in pipes. This creates a strong, intuitive hook for the new information, linking the unknown to the known. Furthermore, you must organize your knowledge around problems and questions, not just topics. Instead of having a mental folder labeled economics, organize what you learn around questions like, how can I make better financial decisions? Or, what causes economic recessions? This approach makes your knowledge immediately practical. You're not just collecting facts. You're building a toolkit. When you face a new problem in the real world, your brain will already have a framework in place to tackle it. This is the difference between academic knowledge and applicable wisdom. One sits on a shelf, the other is a tool in your hand. Don't fall into the trap of believing that learning should be easy. The feeling of struggle, of wrestling with a difficult concept, is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that your brain is working. It's the friction required to build new neural structures. Neuroscientists call this desirable difficulty. When you force your brain to work harder to retrieve information, that retrieval path becomes stronger and more durable. So, instead of rereading a passage over and over, test yourself on it. Instead of looking up an answer immediately, try to recall it first. Embrace the mental effort. It's the very process that builds a powerful and resilient memory. In the end, your memory is not something you have. It's something you build. It is the sum of your deliberate efforts to connect, structure, and reflect. Stop treating your mind like a warehouse for miscellaneous facts and start treating it like a workshop for forging usable knowledge. Challenge yourself to explain concepts, to draw connections, to apply what you learn. Move beyond the passive consumption of information that defines our age. Demand more from your mind. The quality of your thinking, and ultimately the quality of your life, depends on the quality of the mental structures you choose to build. Start today. Take one idea from this video and explain it to someone. Write down how it connects to your own experiences. Begin the work of transforming information into understanding. Thanks for watching.